nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
So Torah portion Bereshit is one of my favorite Torah portions. It's Bereshit chapter 1 all the way through Bereshit chapter 6, 1 through I think like 7 or something like that, right? 1 through 8, yeah. 1 through 6. Okay. So it's Bereshit 1:1 through 6:8. Yeah, it's a really through Torah portion. But what we're going to talk about, who do we have reading last time? Bakir Yamin wasn't able to make it. Y'all know he had every. Let's do it again. Dawid, let's get it. So, yeah, so let's do Bereshit chapter 1.
Genesis chapter 1, start with verse 1. In the beginning, Yahuah created the Shamayim and the Arets.
He created what?
The Shamayim and the Arets.
He created the Shamayim, which is the heavens, and the Arets, that's the earth. Let's keep going.
Okay. Verse 2. Now the Arets was formless and empty.
Dark. Can you do that? You don't got New King James?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
It just makes it easier when we're looking at the exact same kind.
I was reading the wrong version. All right. Starting with verse 2. The Arets was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep.
All right. So the earth was without form and void. Tohu wabohu. It was in chaos and disorder. And what happened was that darkness was on the face of the deep. It's almost like darkness took dominion. Darkness was on the face of the deep. It's like darkness took dominion. I believe is that koshek?
The darkness?
That's the Hebrew word koshek. All right, nevertheless. All right, so let's keep reading.
Verse 3. Then Yahuah said, let there be light, and there was light.
Light, Hai or. So, remember, darkness had dominion at first. Then Yahuah said, let there be light. And we talked about this before. That was a declaration of war.
Right.
When he said, let there be light, that was actually us. This is not referring to the sun, moon, and stars. It was not made yet. It's not referring to that. That was made in day 4. This is a declaration of war between the kingdom of darkness and the children of light, the kingdom of light. Hai or. Let there be light. See? This is Bereshit, Torah portion Bereshit. It means in the beginning, but Bereshit, the creation week really wasn't the beginning. Bereshit was really a reset. It was really a new beginning. Y'all get what I'm saying? Because when you read it carefully, let's read it carefully again. Verse 1, it says, in the beginning, Yahuah created the heavens and the earth. That was the beginning. But then it says the earth was without form and void. It was tohu wabohu, and darkness had taken over the face of the deep. So something happened after the beginning. Get him? Then Yahuah said, let there be light. This is a new beginning. And there was light. He said, let there be light, and there was light. So how did light come? Wait, hold on. I want to hear. Hold on. Think about it. How did light come?
A declaration.
Through a word, through a declaration, through a word. Didn't Yahushua say he was the word made flesh? And aren't we the body of Yahushua? So in a sense, we are the result of a word, of a declaration. We came about through declaration, through a word. We are like, in a sense, the word made flesh as the body of Yahushua. You get what I'm saying? Y'all listen, y'all, this is huge. Like the children of Israel coming back, being revealed, the sons of light, all of a sudden being revealed to the world again. That's huge. That's a word that has became flesh again. That's a word that has became real. We're prophecy being fulfilled. What's happening now is prophecy being fulfilled. We're like, literally like the living and walking word. The true sons of light are like the living and walking word. Remember Yahushua would walk around and say, oh, I'm the word. So if he's the word and he's the head, what do you think the body's going to be? You see what I'm saying? This is a reset. Darkness was over the face of the deep, and Yahuwah said, let there be light. It was a great reset that had to happen. Because the world went without, it said it was tohu wa bohu. It was without form and void. Does the Most High make anything in confusion? Without form and void isn't the best. That's an English translation. It's just not the best way to. Tohu wa bohu is like, it was in chaos. It was in confusion. It was in disarray. And we know that the scriptures say Yahuwah is not an author of confusion. He's just not. So we know something happened to the earth. Something happened to his creation. Because when the earth was tohu wabohu, then darkness took over. And so he came, he said, oh no, let there be light. Listen, this is how it works. Whenever things go into chaos and disorder, the pattern of the Most High is he sends the sons of light out there to bring it back in order. He does. That's the pattern, y'all. Y'all were sent here to be that agent to bring things. All of y'all were sent here for a function, and to do Yahuwah's will as the body of Yahushua, to set things that's been in chaos and disorder back into order. What do y'all think this whole concept of redeeming the bloodline is about? This whole concept of turning the hearts of the fathers back to the sons, the hearts of the sons back to the father. It's time for everything to be back in order. Things went in chaos and disorder. Our families being broken up, being in captivity, being ransacked by the heathen, us moving in the ways of the nations, moving in sin and wickedness and iniquity, bloodlines plagued by all this iniquity, and sin and traumas. And Yahuwah said, let there be light. And he sent y'all. He sent you. He sent you. And then at the appointed time, he woke you up to who you were. You bethought yourself in the places where he scattered. Like, oh, snap. Hold on. And then he regathered you to your hundredfold family. He regathered you to the other sons of light that have been here since the beginning too. Well, reading the beginning, he said, let there be light. That was in the beginning. Go to Jeremiah 1 real quick. Yahuah chapter 1. Y'all know this, but we're going to go there just to drive it home. Everybody there? Keep your place in Bereshit 1. All right, let's go.
All right. I'm sorry. Give me a second. Yahuah. Hold on, y'all. Why can't I find it? Yahuah 1. The words of Yahuah.
Start with verse 4.
Yahuah 1, start with verse 4. Then the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you.
So that's what Yahuwah told Yahuah. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That means he existed before he even was in the womb of his mother. You see what I'm saying? Keep going.
Before you were born, I sanctified you.
Keep going.
I ordained you a prophet to the nations.
Yeah. What does that mean? That means he existed way before he was born. Into this earth realm, he existed. He was a son of light. Yahuah-The prophet was a son of light. And Yahuwah sent him on the earth at that appointed time because things was in chaos and disorder, wasn't it, at that time? If y'all ever read Yahuah, if y'all ever read it, that's why the sons of light always deal with, man, we always deal with some sort of issues from the world. We always deal with things like the world not liking us. Because really, we were sent to be to be that light in a dark place. So anything that's dark is gonna hate you. Anything that's of the dark kingdom of darkness, they not gonna like you. So don't expect everybody to like you. I know some of y'all have been delivered from people pleasing and things like that. So when you find out somebody don't like you, your whole day messed up. You're so sad because you find out somebody don't like you. You don't understand why. And it's because they know who you are. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Go to Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1, read verse 4.
Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4.
Now listen to this carefully. Go ahead.
Just as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world.
Before when?
The foundation of the world.
Oh, so he chose them before the foundation of the world. Ain't that like when creation, like the creation week? Go ahead.
That we should be Kodesh and without blame before him in Ahavah.
Kodesh and without blame, that means blameless. That means tamim, without spot or blemish before him. And Ahavah, go to Revelation chapter 14.
What verse we starting with?
Verse 1.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 44,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads.
So you have Yahusha, and he has with him some people. That's his body, y'all. You have Yahusha, and then with him, his body is with him. That's who the 144,000 are. Their name is on his forehead. His name is on their foreheads. The Father's name is written on their foreheads. Keep going.
Verse 2. And I heard a voice from Shamaim, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder.
So the voice of many waters, we talked about that, but that's the mem, the many waters, the letter mem. I submit that means that when he speaks, everybody will be able to hear him in their own language. Many waters, the Hebrew word letter mem also means languages. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. They sang as it were a new song before the throne, before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one could learn that song except the 144,000.
Ooh, who were what?
Who were redeemed from the Eretz.
They were redeemed from what?
The Eretz.
They were redeemed from the Eretz. And they were singing songs that no one can sing, but there was frequencies they was able to hit that no one else could hit that frequency. Yeah. No, they're not going just singing church songs. They're not just singing Amazing Grace. It's just they come in with, not saying there's anything wrong with Amazing Grace, but you know what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is they come in with songs from the Shamaim that can't nobody duplicate. They're hitting frequencies that can't no one hit. Djembe frequencies, just different, just ancient. No one else can duplicate it, except those people who have been, because there's something different about them. They have been redeemed from the Eretz. They are redeemed people. Let's keep going.
Verse
4.
These are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being firstfruits to Yahuah and to the Lamb.
Keep going, verse 5.
And in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahuah.
Now remember, Ephesians 1 said he was chosen from before the foundations of the world. And it was talking about being without fault, being without spot or blemish or something along those lines. Being blameless, Kodesh and blameless, which that's what it means, being without spot or blemish, being tamim. And you see the 144,000 in verse 5, it says, and in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahuah. Somebody saw the throne today. I submit the 144,000 is about the sons of light. These are the people that follow Yahushua wherever he goes. Could it be because they are the people who always followed Yahushua wherever he goes? Always, from the beginnings, since day one. They always follow Yahushua wherever he goes. When Yahuwah said, let there be light, that was also referring to Yahushua. In Genesis 1, when Yahuwah said, let there be light, it's what says Elohim said, let there be light. That's also referring to Yahushua. All right, y'all in Revelation? Let's go to Revelation 22.
Revelation 22, starting with verse 1.
No, hold on. Let's do, let's do it.
Revelation 22, starting with verse 1.
1 through 5.
Come. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of Yahuah and of the Lamb. In the middle of its street, and on either side of the river, was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit.
Doesn't that take us back to Torah portion Bereshit? We see the tree of life, right? Okay.
The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Verse 3.
Wait, go back up. Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. In the middle of its street, and on either side of the river, was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Verse 3. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuah and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. They shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads.
Oh, hold on. Y'all see this? Didn't in Revelation 14, who had their name on their foreheads?
144,000. The redeemed ones.
Those who are redeemed from among men. Those who follow the Lamb wherever they go. Those who are the 144,000, which is 12,000 from each tribe. Verse 5. Now look what it says right after it says this. It says, they shall see his face. That's referring to his servants. Well, hold on. I just want y'all to really follow this. Look at verse 3 one more time. It says, and there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuah and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. This is his people. They shall see his face. Who is they? He's talking about these servants that'll be in the Shamaim with Yahushua. Kingdom of Shamaim, I should say. Kingdom of Shamaim. They shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads. And look what it says right after that. There shall be no night there. Oh, hold on. Now, y'all know what that means. That means there will be no darkness there, right? Mm-hmm. They need no lamp, nor light of the sun. Remember Genesis 1, Yahuah said, let there be light. Y'all know there wasn't no sun yet. None of that was made yet. They need no lamp nor light of the sun. Why? For Yahuah or Adonai Yahuah gives them light. And they shall reign forever and ever. All right. So all right. So this says, so you Adonai Yahuah. So there's no need for a candle, nor light of the sun, for Yahuah Yahuah or Adonai Yahuah gives them light. Now, I'll submit he gives them light because he is the light. He is the light. See what I'm saying? So when it said, let there be light, before the sun was made, that light was Yahusha and his people, those people who follow him wherever he goes. You get what I'm saying? All right. There's many times where Yahusha said, I'm the light. There's times when he said that. There was a prophecy about a light. Let's just go there. I want y'all to fully understand it. Go to John chapter 1 real quick. John chapter 1. Everybody there? Okay. Okay. I want y'all to fully grasp this. All right, let's go. John 1:1.
In the beginning was the Word.
Hold on. That's Bereshit, ain't it? In the beginning? Was what?
Was the Word.
So as you see, when Yahusha was saying he was the Word made flesh, that lines up with Bereshit. Because through a word, the light came. It was through a word that this war happened, this declaration, that these things came to fruition. It was through a word that he created creation. All right. In the beginning was the Word. And keep going.
And the Word was with Yahuah.
The Word was with Yahuah, and what else?
And the Word was Yahuah.
And the Word was Yahuah. Keep going.
Verse 2. He was in the beginning with Yahuah.
So they're talking about Torah portion of Bereshit. They're talking about what we just been reading. He was in the beginning with Yahuah. He was Bereshit in the beginning with Yahuah. Talking about Yahusha, right? Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Verse 3. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men.
The life was what?
The light of men.
And keep going.
And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it.
Ain't that what we're reading in Bereshit? Torah portion Bereshit. Genesis 1. How the light shine. Now because what's being talked about here is about how Yahusha is the head of the sons of light. Let's see. All right, keep going. Verse 6.
There was a man sent from Yahuah, whose name was Yehukanan. This man came for a witness.
He came for a witness to do what?
To bear witness of the light.
To bear witness of what?
The light.
He came to bear witness of the sun in the sky?
Of the light.
Yeah. Yahusha, when Yahuwah said, let there be light, that was about Yahusha. To bear witness of the light, that what?
That all through him might believe.
Keep going.
He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light.
He's talking about Yachanan. Yachanan, John was not that light. But he was sent to bear witness of Yahusha, who was that light. You get what I'm saying? Keep going.
That was the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world.
That's why we are called the sons of light. Yahusha was the light. We are the sons of light. Y'all making sense now? All right. Let's go back to Bereshit 1. I think y'all got it. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Oh, no, we should have another one. Okay. That's it, back.
So this adds up because you said that you saw the destroyer. Well, you didn't say you saw it, but you said the destroyer was here. So I'm going to read Matthew 13 real quick. It's Matthew 13, 41 through 43, just a few verses. It says, oh, Ema told me. She said, wait. God. 13:41. The Son of Man will send out his Malachim, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness.
Wait, hold on. That's powerful. Wait, hold on.
You just
13:21.
God, 41.
All right, I'm with it. I'm down.
God, I got it. The Son of Man will send out his Malachim, and they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness, and will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So this is basically the destroyer.
Oh, snap.
It's basically the destroyer that goes out. We saw it in Egypt. We saw it with Assyria and several other times. But then this is the part that kind of tripped me out. I just got this. 43. Then, so after the destroyer goes out, then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father.
Man.
He says, he who had ears to hear, let him hear. That just means like, who can understand these things? Praise you for the understanding.
No, this is significant, y'all. So this is what happens. So listen, we'll go back to verse 41. The Son of Man will send out his Malachim. Y'all know that it's the kingdom of Malachim. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that part, right? Okay. And they will gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness. That's what we read over there. Ezekiel 20. And will cast them into the furnace of fire. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Okay? Then after that, the righteous will shine forth as the sun. So this is the dividing of the darkness from the light. Yeah. Say, let there be light. It's about putting things in order. The Malachim, why are the Malachim doing this? Why are they gathering out of his kingdom all things that offend and those who practice lawlessness? Because the Malachim are sent to take things that are in chaos and disorder and put things into order. If you are sent, you are a sent one. You are sent to do a work for the Most High, which is going to have something to do with putting things in place, putting things back in its proper order. Everybody has some small part in doing that in some shape, form, or fashion. See what I'm saying? Whether it's you raising up your children right so they'll be serving Yahuwah. Whether it's, who knows what, what I'm saying, helping other people, healing, the list goes on and on and on. Everybody is playing a part in this as the body of Yahusha. And so what happens is as those who are of darkness get separated, meaning removed, going into Sheol, because the weeping and gnashing of teeth, that's the bad part of Sheol. That's what the Malachim are set apart to do, to separate those things. to distinguish those things. Those who are not his go into the bad part. And then after that, the righteous will shine bright, because when the darkness and the light are separated, when it's divided, that's really the kingdom of the Shamayim. That's really what the kingdom is. I mean, that is like, let's look at the word Shamayim. Let's look at it real quick. So there's two words for heaven in the scriptures. It's Shamayim and then Shamayim. But I want y'all to look at this one, Shamayim. Because it's things being separated based on ma'in, it's kind. The Hebrew word ma'in means kind. Things being separated and divided based on its kind. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's the aspect of the kingdom. It's when things are separated and put in a proper place. When things are separated and gathered based on their kind. You see what I'm saying? All right, let's keep going. Genesis 1.
I think we left off at verse 4. Yeah, we did. And Yahuah saw the light, that it was stewed or good. And Yahuah divided the light from the darkness.
He divided the light from the darkness. He divided the light, the ore, from Koshet. So there was a division that was made. What happened when you found out who you were? You bethink yourself in the places where you were scattered, and then what happened right away? There was a division, wasn't it? It was a separation that happened, wasn't it? A lot of y'all ended up started veering further and further away from some of the old homeboys, old homegirls, old friends, even family. And if they steeped into the world, it be even family, it just starts being a separation. It's Yahuah's doing it. You don't even be doing it on purpose. You'll be it'll be hard though. You'll be trying to hang in there. Oh yeah, we got this Christmas party going on, come on through. Oh, I ain't gonna go to that. And they'll start being, after a while, man, I don't know what's going on with her. She's just kind of weird, The next thing you know, the calls start getting less and less, and it's just this separation that happens. And it's really Yahuah's doing, because he separates the light from the darkness, and the more and more your light starts shining, the more and more the separation that's going to be from anything that's still in darkness. You get what I'm saying? Till it's like this, and now you're going closer and closer to other people who are light, though. Closer to the point to where you done moved out of your town, hometown. You're in Augusta, or Anderson, or Austin, OKC, or wherever, And that was Yahuah's doing. Because the kingdom of heaven is things being gathered to its kind. You're going to be gathered to your kind. Y'all listen, man, when I was out there in the world and, smoking weed all the time and stuff like that, that's all who was around me. So much so to why I thought everybody smoked. I told y'all that hundreds of times. That's all who was around me. It was like natural. That's all who gathered around me, and who I gathered around. And then as soon as I got out of that, all of a sudden it was separation. People I thought was my homeboys and stuff, man, ain't hearing from them no more. You know what I'm saying? And all those things like that. But then it was getting closer and closer to those who are light, though. And you'll start discerning the light, too. You'll start discerning. Y'all got through discernment. That's why y'all here. Y'all heard the Maleks. Y'all knew there was something different with them. Man, let me follow them. You know what I'm saying? Let me follow some more of these teachings. Let's keep going.
Verse 5. Yahuah called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning, or the boker, were the first day.
The evening and the morning was Yom Echad. So you notice that the day when the sons of light were declared, when the sons of light came out to go and take dominion over the darkness, was on Yom Echad. It was about being in Echad. Yeah, that was the day of Echad, when the sons of light were brought out to take dominion over the darkness. All right, let's go back to Genesis 33. I mean, Devarim 33. Oh, yeah, hold on. So, going back to Shamayim, there's two different words for Shamayim, okay? So, you got Shamayim with a noon at the end. That's H8065. And then you also got, well, you're referring to H8064, Shamayim. So there's two different words in the scriptures for heaven. Shamayim, H8065. They're both, I believe, both of those words are used in the creation week, I believe. I got to look again. But both words, Shamayim and Shamayim, are used. Shamayim is that's the one most of us know of. H8064. H8064. Y'all got it? Hallelujah. That one wasn't a typo, not that one. Oh, man. But, all right. Let's keep going.
All right, we're starting with verse 1. Deuteronomy
33, verse 1. So this is what we talked about last week.
Verse 1. Now this is the blessing with which Moshe, the man of Yahuah, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, Yahuah came from Sinai and dawned on them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran.
And he came with
10,000s of the Kodashim, or saints.
So this is at the end of the Torah. That's supposed to be Devarim 33. That is a typo. Chapter 33. Yahuah came from Sinai. He dawned on them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. And when he came, he had he came with 10,000s of Kodashim. And you know what's interesting? The word that's used here is derived from Rebbe. It's like Rabab, Rebbe. It's the because Rabab means a lot. Todah Rabah. That means like thank you a lot, thank you a whole lot, thank you greatly. But it's interesting that Rebbe is the word for four. You know what I'm saying? For the fourth day is Yom Rebbe. The reason why that's significant to me is because that's a direct, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a direct something to 12, 4 times 3. Multiple, direct, multiple of 12. Which is direct multiple of 144,000. So I just thought that was interesting. But he came with 10,000s of Kodashim from his right hand of fiery law for them. So y'all see came is in italics. A fiery law is the same thing as the 10,000s of Kodashim. He came with 10,000s of saints from his right hand of fiery law for them. It's these people that are the word made flesh. And they're fiery, meaning they are a light that came with Yahuah. And it's a whole lot of them, a great multitude, or 10,000s and thousands of them. And they came, and that word law is not Torah, it's a decree. It's like a declaration. Remember, it's Ashdod. is this word. It actually means decree. If you look at when every time it's used, it's not the same as Torah law. This is a dot, which means a decree, a declaration. Decree is just another way of saying like something that was declared from an authority figure that has to be that's has to be law. Like Ashdod, fiery law. That's referring to the sons of light. The sons of light were a fiery decree. Yahuah was declaring the end from the beginning, or the beginning from the end. Remember, this was the end of the Torah portion. This was last week, the last Torah portion of the cycle. Devarim 33. It was a fiery law that came with Yahuah. These 10,000 of Kodashim, who was a fiery law. There was a decree of light, in other words. A light decree. Let there be light. Wasn't that a light decree? That's why Ashdod is very closely related to Bereshit. Because really Bereshit is about the sons of light. It's about the bringing forth of the sons of light and establishing the dominion of the children of light on the earth. Bereshit. Ashdod. Fiery law, fiery decree. Bereshit, the only thing that they didn't have in the word Bereshit from Ashdod is the Dalet. It has all the words except the Dalet. If you take ash, which means fire, if you take the fire out of Bereshit, what do you get? Y'all remember that? If you take fire, which means light, out of Bereshit, you get the word Berit. Bereshit is about the covenant. The book of Bereshit is about a Berit. That's the Hebrew word for covenant. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember the breakdown for covenant? I know it's been a while, but it's the mark or the sign that's on the hand and the forehead. So it's about the mark or the sign of the house that's on the head and on the hand. Y'all remember, according to Torah, it says the Torah, you're supposed to bind it as a sign upon your hand, and it'll be as frontlets between your eyes. Y'all know even the mark of the beast, there was a mark that was going to be put on the forehead and on the hand. But you have the mark of Yahuah that's being put on the head and on the hand, the mark. That's Berit. That's Berit, which is closely related to Torah as well. Yeah, Torah is Tav Ua Reshe. Listen to the breakdown of Bereshit. It's about the heads of the house. The heads of the house have to go through the fire in order to get the mark on their hands, the mark of Yahuah. In other words, it's about these heads of the house who have to be tried. They have to go through the fire. They have to be tested and tried by the fire to get the mark on their hands. It's about enduring to the end. And these people who can do that, they will be called sons of Yahuah. The people who can do this, who will do this, are the sons of light. You see what I'm saying? That's what Bereshit is about. Let's keep reading.
Verse 3, I'm sorry. Yes, he loves the people. All his
No, go back to Genesis 1, my bad.
where did we leave off? verse 6. Genesis 1, verse 6. Then Yahuah said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
So you see all this dividing happening. That's the kingdom of the Shamayim. So first, in day one, he divided the light. He said, let there be light. And Yahuah divided the light from the darkness. That was about the sons of light being divided from the people of the darkness. It's really about the sons of light going and dividing and taking dominion over the darkness. But, that's a whole other thing. Because the sheen, the dividing, is about also taking dominion. Let's keep going. Verse 6. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. All right. And let it do what?
Divide the waters from the waters.
So there's some more division going. So there's a dividing of waters from some other waters. I'll submit this is talking about the same thing, but keep going.
Thus Yahuah made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament.
Under the firmament. So look, this is the firmament. Y'all look, this is just something I found online real quick, just to give us a picture of the firmament. Don't get into no specifics. All right, So this is just a Google picture of the firmament. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the skies. And so the firmament was like a bubble, so everything was water at first. Yahuah said, let there be light. There was light. Light took dominion over the darkness. Then day 2, Yahuah said, okay, he's going to put a firmament. So everything was water. Then he put this firmament, was like this bubble, boom, in the midst of the water. When he put this firmament in there, he divided the waters from the waters. Y'all get it? The firmament came and divided the waters. And it says here that he divided the waters which were under the firmament, because once that bubble came, that firmament came in there. Now he divided the waters, so then waters divided under it, and then there were waters that divided above it. Are y'all following? Okay. He divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. I'll submit this is also saying the same thing. It's about him separating those of the Shamayim, above the firmament, from those who are below, of the darkness, of the kingdom of darkness, which are the waters below the firmament, which what we would call the marine kingdom. You got the kingdom of Shamayim, that's the children of light, the Kodesh people of Yahuah, versus the marine kingdom, which is the kingdom of darkness. The waters above the firmament versus the water below. Think about it, y'all. Think about this. The marine kingdom, the oceans are filled with salt. The seas, you can't. It's filled with salt. The water that comes from the water above the firmament is fresh water, living water. Y'all ever thought about that? The water from the Shamayim is living water that you can drink, and it'll keep you alive. It'll sustain you. You can't do nothing with ocean water. You can't. Salt was always symbolic of great judgment, of like Sheol. It always was. Yeah. What they call the Dead Sea? They call it the South Sea. That's the lowest point of the whole earth. The South Sea is in what we would call the Promised Land today. I know that's debate. That people debate that too, and you know what I'm saying. That's not the point. But the place that we call the Promised Land, the place that's called Israel, is this place, body of water called the Dead Sea. It's the lowest point on earth, y'all. It's the lowest point on earth. When Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, what happened to the wife who looked back? Yeah. Salt was always surrounded around Sheol, judgment, wickedness, etc. Every sacrifice had to be seasoned with salt before you do what? Burn it with fire. It had to be covered in salt, every sacrifice. And we know that the sacrifice symbolizes judgment, right? It's basically that animal, in a sense, receiving because you would do sacrifices for sins. In the Torah, you would offer up an animal. If you commit this sin, if you do that, you go, you can bring it's a sin offering. And the sin offerings, it was as if it's in a sense like that animal taking what you should have got. It's like, you get what I'm saying? That's the symbolism of it. So that's showing you that in a sense the sacrifices has a symbolism of judgment. They kill the animal and it has to be covered. It has to be, every sacrifice and offering has to have salt on it. Every single one. And so it's interesting that the waters above the firmament ain't salty at all. It's actually fresh water that you can drink from. So I submit to y'all that the waters below the firmament do not come from the rain at all. They don't. It's a different water. It's a different source. But the water that you can get from springs, that things like that, springs, certain lakes. Because I know we're far removed from this because we've been in Babylon, we've been in captivity where the nations basically took over. The nations have control of the earth right now. The nations have dominion over the earth right now. That's changing, but still, for right now, today, if we talk about today, right now, for the most part, the nations have dominion on the earth right now. Because of that, we don't realize that back in the day, you used to go and drink out the lakes and streams and stuff. Before the nations took over the earth, we can go and drink from the streams and stuff. The nations came and they literally polluted the earth, literally. And so you can't really do that in most places anymore. There's still exceptions. But you can read it in the scriptures. Y'all, our ancestors, they would just go to the lake and drink. You see what I'm saying? Y'all remember the story of the 300? And they went and they laughed and they was just drinking. We can't even, we far removed. We can't think it. We can't fathom doing something like that. We can't fathom. You can't do that without going through a whole lot of processing and filtering. You know what they do in the water today? The water be so bad, they literally geek it up with a whole bunch of chlorophene. Did I say that right? Chlorine. Oh, man. Chlorine, I mean. They got to geek up the water with a whole bunch of chlorine, y'all, just for you to be able to drink that water. Along with filtering it out significantly. But yeah, with the 300, man, the scripture said, I think those who lap like a dog, that means there was people, man, they was just like this at the lake. We can't fathom that. But that was before the nations took over the whole world. You could do that. Man, now factories be pouring chemicals in the water sources. Man, be pouring, man, y'all know they be processing sewage and pouring it right into the lakes and stuff. Yeah. Trash. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but this is my point. I wasn't even supposed to get into all that. This is the point. The lakes, the rivers, and streams, the water in the water sources for those freshwater bodies came from the Shamayim. They came from the waters above. They didn't come from the waters below. But the water in the oceans and the seas, the reason why it's totally different, it's filled with salt, it's totally different, is because it didn't come from the Shamayim. The waters below came from a different source. That makes sense? When you read Noah, when Yahuah flooded the earth, Torah portion Noah is next week. Y'all know right after this is Torah portion Noah. And y'all will read it this week, so we're not even going to go there because that's next Torah portion. So I'll just say it, and then when y'all read it next week, y'all will see it, and y'all will be like, oh, yeah. It didn't just rain. He didn't flood the earth. Yahuah didn't flood the earth by just rain. Water came from where else as well? Didn't water shoot forth from below? Yeah. There's two different sources where water comes from below and from the Shamayim. Because Yahuah, he made a distinction. He divided the waters from the waters. Where there's waters that come from the Shamayim versus the waters from below. That's why Yahuah would say, oh, out of him comes living water. He's letting you know he's of the Shamayim. Living water comes from the Shamayim. Even the living water that are in the streams and springs, all that comes from the rain. It comes from the Shamayim. He said, out of my body flows living waters. He was always talking about living waters and things like that. Even when Yahushua was out there doing his ministry, he was only dealing with the fresh waters. Y'all ever thought about that? He only dealt with the freshwater bodies. He didn't deal with the ocean. He was going out to the freshwater lake, fishing. He even went and picked his followers, his disciples. They were all fishermen who fished in that fresh body of water that they called Lake Gennesaret, and I forgot, Lake of Galilee, Sea of Galilee, is a freshwater body. And they were out there fishing, and that's who he told, oh yeah, I want y'all come follow me. They're like, all right, let's go. Yahushua was even helping them pull fish out of the fresh waters. In other words, Yahuah was helping them gather people out of the Shamayim. Y'all get it? He was helping them gather people of the Shamayim. That's the symbolism of the freshwater fish. All right. Go ahead. Okay, we'll definitely do that.
I was saying that I submit that he gave the same invitation to us when he said to leave everything and come with him to follow him. So that meant family, that meant some people jobs, that could have meant whatever. But it's the same invitation. And that's why those that wanted to look around and be like, oh, let me go do this or that. He like, nah, yeah, you go ahead and do that, but I need to make sure you stand focused. So that was like the first test to see if you'll follow. And so whenever anything is going on in your life and you feel uncomfortable, just remember that you're doing those certain things to follow the Most High. So he's telling you to let go of those things and release them because you're following him in trust.
Yeah, because that's another aspect of the Shamayim is pulling things out of the waters. That's another aspect of the Shamayim is pulling things out of the waters. All praise to the Most High. Let's keep reading.
All right, verse 7. Thus Yahuah made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
And look what he called it.
And Yahuah called the firmament Shamayim.
That's the Shamayim. The firmament. Let's keep going.
So the evening and the morning were the second day.
He didn't say nothing was through on the second day, did he? All right, let's keep going. Verse 9.
Then Yahuah said, let the waters under the Shamayim be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so.
Now it's time for the Eretz to appear. Let's keep going.
And Yahuah called the dry land Eretz, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And Yahuah saw that it was thawed.
Now it was thawed. Once the waters below were gathered together, when he gathered together the seas, and once the Eretz appeared. So now you have the Eretz appearing. It has appeared, the earth. Even after the firmament was put in, there still was no land. So without no land, there ain't nowhere for the sons of light to be able to just to dwell, because the Most High made us. He didn't make us to be in the sea at all. That's for the marine kingdom. That's for the kingdom of darkness. So he had to make and prepare a place for us. See what I'm saying? And so he gathered the waters together, and then the dry land appeared. This is like war. Because when you look at the Hebrew word eretz, I don't have no slide for it, but we threw because Kaya hooked it up. Eretz. It's a stronghold, Sadi. It's a stronghold for Yahuah and his heads. Or it's a stronghold of Yahuah, I mean. A stronghold of Yahuah for his Roshim, for his heads. Eretz. What does that mean? That means the Eretz was always designed to be for the sons of light, to be for Yahuah's people. The Eretz was never created to have wickedness on it. It wasn't. Yahuah created the Eretz to be a stronghold, y'all. It said the dry land, he called it Eretz. He called it a stronghold, y'all. Meaning a stronghold of Yahuah for his people. A stronghold of Yahuah for his people. For his heads. Or for his heads or people. You get what I'm saying? Roshim. Are the leaders of Yahuah, the heads of Yahuah. The land was created to be a stronghold for Yahuah's people. A stronghold is like a military base. You get what I'm saying? A place where you can inhabit and you'll be launching attacks from there. Taking dominion from there, etc. It was never designed for wickedness and sin to be on the Eretz. That's why the revelation of the Eretz has been so big lately. I remember when the land was even responding to us. Well, even the land spoke. I know that sounds crazy, but do y'all remember that? All this stuff is living. Because the land was set apart for the Kodashim. To take dominion from. Something happened to where the marine kingdom was able to come and take over the Eretz. The marine kingdom was able to come and leave the waters and come and be on the land and take over the Eretz. Y'all know that I know we be calling like the other nations, especially like the European nations, we call them colonizers. I know who was the original colonizer, Miss Power? That was just the other nations trying to be like Yahuah. The reason why the nations, what in the world drove the nations to do? What would drive their mind to go? I'm gonna go and we're gonna take over the whole earth. We're gonna go. Especially the places where the Hebrews are. Let's go there. Let's genocide as many of them as possible. Let's kill. Let's plunder them as many and take over their land. What drove them to do that? Y'all, they were part of the marine kingdom, which is ran by Hasatan. And he always wanted to be like Yahuah. He always wanted to be that. He always wanted to be like Yahuah. That's why he was trying to take it. That's why the colonizers were colonizing. And a lot of times the places they were trying to colonize is where we were at. Because Hasatan was behind him and he was trying to counteract what was already prophesied actually for us to do. It was prophesied that we would have dominion over the earth. We would have dominion over the elements. That's what Genesis, the creation week, is about. Yahuah establishing the elements and giving the dominion over those things to his people. That's why the nations, what they do is they try to have dominion over the elements. I don't believe that any human being was smart enough to come up with airplanes that can go fly and drop bombs from the air and bomb thousands of people. No, these are nations that are given over to the marine kingdom, and these heads are in communication with fallen ones, y'all. They're in communication with fallen ones. We got to know what's going on. Who want to be like Yahuah. They're trying to be like Yahuah. And so they want to have dominion over the air, so they come up with airplanes. They want to be able to manipulate the fire, Esh, and drop fire from the Shamayim. Y'all know in the scriptures it said that many of our people had the ability to cause fire to come down from the Shamayim. That's what they do when they dropping bombs from the sky all the time, when the nations warring against each other. We had the ability to have dominion over the waters. Moshe had split the seas, y'all. The nations, they build big ships. They do all these things to try to have dominion even over the oceans. Try to have dominion over the air by through airplanes and traveling and things like that. They try to tell you that you can't even fly. You know, they have no-fly zones. You know, we've been talking about this for a while. They're trying to have dominion over the air. Why? Because they're trying to be like us. That's what we're prophesied to have. We don't even know that. We don't even know that they specifically trying to counteract what Yahuwah's prophesied for his people to be doing. Because he who has control of the elements has the dominion. They been knew that. They know that. A lot of people say believe that Katrina, they did that. They blew up the levees and caused that stuff, man. The nations caused the floods. They try to manipulate the weather. Why? They trying to have dominion over the elements. What did Yahuwah do when he destroyed Egypt? He used the elements to destroy Egypt. He didn't need not one bomb, did he? He didn't even need no sword. Nothing. He used the elements, y'all, to totally destroy the most powerful country that was in existence at that time. Mitzrayim. They had horses, chariots. They had great armies. They were no match against Yahuwah because you know Yahuwah and his people. Why? Because Yahuwah and his people had control over the elements. And listen, Yahuwah and his people. He gave it to his people. Yahuwah didn't just go and rain frogs on them and split the sea and no, he took one of his people. He took Moshe to do it. In the sight of everybody, Moshe, put your staff over that water and turn that water into blood. That's dominion over the waters. He put his staff. Now, Yahuwah didn't have to do it. He could have just turned the water to blood. No. He wanted the people to see that, no, those people that have dominion, control over the elements. My people. So to everybody who saw it, to them, Moshe's doing this. You know what I'm saying? You know, Moshe know this is Yahuwah, and some of the people knew it was Yahuwah. But to the people and to the enemy, this is Moshe doing this. Because he literally did this staff, touched the water, and it turned to blood. They're like, oh, snap. All the fish dying in there, everything dying in there. This dominion over the waters, y'all. We got to understand how significant this is. All right, let's keep reading. We're wrapping it up. Let's keep reading.
Verse 11. Then Yahuwah said, let the Eretz bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the Eretz, and it was so. And the Eretz brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And Alu saw that it was stew. Alua saw that it was
So
stew.
somebody give me that Hebrew word according to its kind. I want to pull it. Did you pull it up?
After his kind.
Oh, that's dope.
Mean, M-E-E-N, Main.
It should be Ma'in. Like y'all said.
Main, okay.
Is it Mem Yo Noon, I believe?
I just got off of it.
Mem Yo Noon. Y'all follow there? Ma'in. Mem Yo Noon. So when Yahuah was separating things and he said everything needs to gather, the seed in itself according to its kind, that word kind is ma'in. Y'all following me? The Hebrew word for heaven is shamayim, which means to the sheen means to divide according to ma'in, is kind. That's the kingdom of heaven, is when things are divided according to its kind. So you see the kingdom of heaven being established in the creation week, because that's all Genesis 1, Yahuah, he's dividing things. He's dividing things according to his kind. According to his kind, according to his kind. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's why the Hebrew word for heaven, shamayim, is about dividing based on its kind. I think I can tell they're getting it now. Hallelujah. 'Cause I said that earlier, but I could tell y'all didn't get it. That's why I wanted to reiterate. Let's keep reading.
Verse 13. So the evening and the morning were the third day.
All right. Got to say this. Third day, the number 3 is about resurrection. That's why Yahushua said 3 days and 3 nights. You know, he was going to resurrect. 3 days and 3 nights. And he would resurrect. You know what I'm saying? Because the number 3 is associated with resurrection. That's why on the third day, grass sprouted forth out of dry ground, which is symbolic of resurrection. Grass sprouting forth out of dry ground in the midrash. It just talked about it in the midrash that we covered this last week about grass. It flourishes during the day, and then it talks about how it withers during after the sundown. Y'all remember that in the midrash? And it was really just a poetic language of talking about the frailty of life. How life is short. If y'all remember that, you know, you can read it again. I believe it was chapter 87, Psalms 88 or 89. We covered like 4 chapters. It was one of those though. But all throughout the scriptures, it talks about how, you know, it associates life with vegetation. I think it's like Isaiah 40 says, all flesh is like grass, withers away, things like that. It's just, yeah, kind. So, grass sprouting forth out of dry ground on the third day is symbolic of resurrection. Even when we talked about the staff, Aaron's staff, when it budded, when you saw vegetation sprout forth out of a dead staff, that was symbolic of resurrection. You see what I'm saying? That was symbolic of resurrection. It was symbolic of the awakening. Remember, it sprouted buds and almonds. And we know almonds is about the awakening because the Hebrew word for almonds is about being awake. The awakening. And we know that this awakening was a resurrection. This awakening was a resurrection. Like Ahmed said, the dry bones waking up was a resurrection. We were dry bones. We was in Sheol, which is a form of death. And Yahuah resurrected us. That's life being awakened to who you are. That's a resurrection. All right, let's keep going. Verse 14.
Verse 14. Then Alua said, let there be lights in the firmament of the Shamayim to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years. And let them.
So now you had the sun, moon, and star was created, and it said them be for signs and seasons. That's Moedim. Let them be for Moedim. So the sun, moon, and stars was created so that for the appointed times is what Moedim means. The feast days. That's why, Rosh Kodesh. The way we know it's Rosh Kodesh is by what? We see the moon. We see the moon. We're like, oh yeah, it's time for Rosh Kodesh. You know what I'm saying? As far as, a lot of the feast days are based off of the moon. Not all of them, but most of them are. Pesach, we know it's the 14th day of the first moon, first month of the year, the first moon of the year. It's Pesach, the 14th day. We know that the 15th day of the first month, etc., is unleavened bread. We know that the 15th day of the 7th moon of the year is the 15th month of the 15th day of the 7th moon of the year is, okay, y'all got it. Some of y'all, you know, we'll work it out. Sukkot. But Shavuot, you don't calculate Shavuot using the moon, so I can't tell y'all no specific date that Shavuot is, right? I can't say on the 13th day of no month or the 5th day of any month. You can't, because the Shavuot is not calculated based off of the moon. Right, you got to calculate it based on Shabbat. Based on, you got to count the Sabbath, etc. So, you know, let's keep going. But the appointed times, most of them are based off of the sun, moon, and stars.
Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the Shamaim to give light on the arets.
So y'all see this picture of the firmament, and y'all see it, that these is made to give lights in the firmament. You got the sun, you know, the moon, etc., and the stars. Man, Sukkot, it was amazing, boy. Just having that view of the stars every night, man, that was so through. But also, the sun, moon, and stars is also about us. It is. It is. So, we're the sons of light. Yahuah said we're supposed to be a light to the nations, right? What does the sun do? The sun is a light to the nations, right? Also, this is in Christianity. They don't know who Israel really is, but these are just some normal Christian books, you know, some Christian book by Christine Thomas where they say Israel is a Lewis timepiece. Israel, the Most High's timepiece. Even in Christianity, even though they don't know who Israel is, they think, you know, a certain people, you know. But they do know this. They know that the Most High's appointed time that you need to look at, whoever the children of Israel is, you need to look at them as the Most High's timepiece. Y'all get what I'm saying? And so the sun, moon, and stars were created to be for the signs and Moedim. It's not really seasons, because, you know, when you look at seasons, we think, at least in English, summer, fall, winter, spring. That's not really that word. That's Moedim, which is more like, you know, feast days, appointed times, and things like that. We are the appointed times is another way to look at this. Let's keep going. Well, hold on. I think, let's look at this. Bereshit 37. I'll read it quick. This is Bereshit 37 during the days of Joseph. Look at the dream that Joseph had. Then he dreamed still another dream and told it to his brothers and said, look, it's right here on the screen. Look, I have dreamed another dream, and this time the moon and the 11 stars bowed down to me. And we know that the sun and the moon, let's keep reading. So he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you've dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers, which were the family of Israel, y'all know that this was, think about Joseph's Joseph's father was Yaakov. So Yaakov knew exactly what the dream meant. He said, shall your mother, which would be the moon, and I, which would be the sun, Yaakov, and your brothers, which would be the stars, because that's why it was 11 stars. See what I'm saying? Shall your mother and your brother indeed come to bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind. They all knew what the dream meant. Because we are the Most High's timepiece. We are symbolic of the sun, moon, and stars. We are the sons of light. But I submit this is also about having dominion over the elements. That's another layer to this, because he said the sun, moon, and star and 11 stars bow down to him. It's also about having dominion over the elements. What happened to Joseph? Think about it. What happened to Joseph? Most of y'all know the story of Joseph, right? Everybody in here should know that, because all of y'all been here through, I believe, at least through one Torah portion cycle. Well, most of y'all, not everybody, but about 99% of y'all have. And Joseph ended up having dominion over the whole earth, didn't he? He was second to Pharaoh. Pharaoh at the time was the greatest power on the earth. Egypt, was the greatest power on the earth during this time. And he literally was second to Pharaoh. So he had dominion over the earth, which is symbolic of having dominion over the elements. This dream meant way more than just him, his brothers, him having dominion over his brothers. And I submit this dream was way more to this dream than just him. His brothers bowing down to him. That's all they cared about. His brothers, that's all they cared about. Oh, you telling me we're going to bow down to you? This dream was about Joseph one day was going to have dominion over the earth, y'all. Because this was also showing the elements bowing down to him. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, because we didn't go to everything, but there was another dream where the crops bowed down to him. The crops bowed down to his part. That's the Eretz. You got the Shamayim, the sun, moon, and the stars. Those were the things in the Shamayim, right, bowing down to him. And then he had the crops bowing down to his crop. The things in the Eretz. You see what I'm saying? All right. Y'all look like y'all getting it. We keep going. The faster y'all get it, the faster we'll be through, you see? All right, let's keep going.
Verse 16, then Yahuah made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
Yeah. So y'all notice that he made is not in there. Y'all get why? Y'all get why he made is not in there? Somebody not in leadership. When it says he made the stars also, he made is not there. And why? Say it out loud.
It's italicized.
Did y'all hear that? Get the mic. You got the mic right by you.
It's italicized.
Y'all heard that? It's in italics. So this is another way to look at this. Then Yahuah made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, the stars also. Why? Because the stars were made to rule, I submit, well, one of the lesser lights made to rule the night too. The stars was made to do that also. We saw that in Sukkot. When you're in the cities, it's hard to tell because we have all this electricity and this artificial light, and it's hard to tell how these stars will help to rule the night and give you light in the night. But when you're out there in them areas that don't have all that artificial light, man, I just couldn't stop looking at them stars during this Sukkot. And I ended up seeing the biggest shooting star I've ever seen in my life, ever. Walking with Yahuah, I was talking to Shashon, and then we were all together. That's right, yeah. Shashon came, she was talking to Vakir Yamin Manu. Then Yahuah was like, man, I had this vision. Then Yahuah was telling me this powerful vision too, powerful. And as he's talking, I just, what? Oh, snap, did y'all see that? I'm talking the biggest, brightest shooting star I've ever seen. That was something else. That was like a malak or something. Because at the same time, I was like feeling a ruach because of this vision Yahuah was telling me was so powerful. And then, actually, a part of the vision Yahuah was telling me, he was saying that a malak had shot down to him like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it might have been a Malak. We gotta see what these shooting stars are. All right, let's keep going. But you see here in Yeshayahu 49, it says, "Indeed, it is a too small a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved ones of Yasharel. I will also give you as a to the Gentiles." That means nations. I will also, that's really goyim, that means nations. "I will also give you as a light to the Gentiles, a light to the nations, that you should be my salvation to the ends of the earth." I submit this is not talking to everybody. This is referring to the sons of light. The children of light is what this is referring to. That's why we are called the children of light, because you are sent to be a light to the nations, a light to the Gentiles. Matthew chapter 5. This is what Yahushua said. He said, "You are the light of the world." He ain't talking to everybody. That's not everybody. You know, we're in Christianity. We are a light to the world, being all kind of sin, iniquity, all kind of light to the world. This is this is referring to a specific people that literally are. When literally are the people when Yahuwah said, "Let there be light," to come and invade darkness. These are the people. Yahushua was talking to like his apostles and Shalakim sent ones, y'all, people who are always around. These are people who've been around throughout all history. I know this is real deep stuff, but we've been talking about this for a while, so hopefully it won't be too ground shaking for y'all. But look, the Shalakim, Kepha, Yachanan the Immerser. These people that Yahushua was talking to, these are people that always been around. These are people that have been around all throughout history, who show up throughout history. They're sons of light. They're sent to do a work, and it's usually to bring some sort of order into something that's of disorder. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, the menorah. That's why, what does the menorah symbolize? Right? Doesn't the menorah represent the assemblies? This is according to the scriptures now. The menorah represents the nation. The menorah represents the assemblies. The menorah represents the nation. That's why that lampstand is really the word for menorah. That's really, we just read in English, but that's really menorah, like a lampstand. But on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Oh, snap. You know what that just remind me of? That's another one. I was thinking Shub, the return, to repent. It's the sheen and the bed, light to the house, light in the house. But Shabbat too, because you got sheen, bed, and then the tar. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your thub works and glorify your Ab in heaven. Hallelujah. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 17. Eluah set them in the firmament of the Shamaim to give light on the Eretz, and to rule over the day and over the night.
Give me that word. Somebody give me that Hebrew word for rule. All right, y'all look it up, though. Y'all see that as mashal? To rule over the day and over the night. So the Hebrew word mashal is a kingdom term and you see fire, water, fire. Or dividing the waters by the staff. Just like who did? Moshe did. He took the staff and he split and divided the waters with the staff. And the water split. But you see fire and water in there to rule over the day and over the night. Let's keep going. And to divide the light from the darkness.
Right. And Yahuah saw that it was stewed. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
Well, the fourth day. Now remember, what happened when Moshe took the staff and he split the waters? When he split the waters, didn't dry land appear? That's a creation week happening all over again, isn't it? He split the waters from the waters, dry land appeared, and that dry land ended up being what? A stronghold for the righteous, didn't it? That was a rest. It was a stronghold for the Kodashim because the Kodashim were able to walk through that dry land, and that was destruction for those who were not of the Kodashim. Why do you think they couldn't walk through there on dry land? Because remember, Eretz was never designed to be for wicked. So as soon as they tried to do it, what happened? The water swept them up. Salt water. That's a through point. Judgment. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 20. Then Yahuah said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the Eretz across the face of the firmament of the Shamayim.
All right. Let's keep going.
So Yahuah created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Yahuah saw that it was stewed.
So the birds and the fish are related to each other. That's what they were both created on the fifth day. Yeah, that just didn't work. It ain't work at all. But it's okay. You can just picture it. You can just picture it. You see the picture. You see how you see how fish and birds are related to each other. They even have fish that'll fly. At least a little bit. They don't fly a long time, but they're related to each other though. We went out fishing, and y'all know we went out, man. How long did we went out? How far out into the ocean? We went out like an hour, 2 hours out into the ocean. We went way out there, man. It was crazy. I ain't used to that now, wasn't nobody scared. It was fun because it was smooth. The waters was smooth. It was nice weather. I don't know how them people do that when it's raining and it was bad weather, though. That's crazy to me. The people that work there doing that every day. And then but this is the point. We went fishing. It was a great time. I was catching some crazy stuff. Yahuah, I think. Oh, who won? I think Yahuah. Yeah. Yeah, Yahuah, I don't know what it was. The Most High put something on him with that fishing, man. And he was going in. And we caught a whole bunch of fish though. We caught a bunch of fish. But what I noticed is that the animals we were dealing with were fish and what else? Birds. People were catching stuff. I think Nathaniel was the first person to catch something, and the first thing that happened was a bird went in there and swallowed his, that was Bakir Lou, swallowed his fish hole. Bakir Lou, oh man, you saw that? Man, oh man. Man. We was like, oh, that's messed up. And then there was some fish you would catch and you'd be like, yeah, that ain't that, they don't even really got scales and fins. And you'll see one of the birds over there and and you'll watch the bird literally laser point that mug and swallow it whole. I mean, as soon as the fish hits the water and you think it'll have it won't even have a second to try to swim out, man, them birds be on it. And so, but that's what you saw. You saw birds and fish that related to each other. Birds pretty much, it's like they swim in the air, you know what I'm saying? Or in other words, you can say fish, they basically fly in the water. See what I'm saying? You can kind of say that both ways. And so they related to each other. That's why they made on the same day. Keep going.
Verse 22. And Yahuah blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earths. So the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Were the fifth day. And so that's why fishing was a major theme in the Brit Hadashah. Because pulling things out of the waters is about the kingdom of Shamaim. The fifth day is Yom HaMashiach, right? Yom HaMashiach. Yom HaMashiach. Y'all notice that, and we talked about this before, but you got almost Shamayim in there, don't you? Sheen, Mem, Yo. You're just missing one word. The word for 50, which is Jubilee, is Hamashim. There's an M at the end, and that's literally Shamayim in there. In the Hebrew word for 50, you got the Shamayim in that word. So it's letting you know that the number 5 is closely related to the Shamayim. That's why when the kingdom of the Shamayim was at hand, it was a lot surrounding these fishermen. Even Yahushua was like, yeah, go put your net over there. And he was showing these people how to catch fish, and that's the people who was following. At least his main followers, several of them were experts in catching fish. Pulling things out of the waters. Pulling things out of the nations. Yahushua even told, I believe that was Keith, it was one of them, I'm going to make you fishers of men. See what I'm saying? Because that's also about having dominion over the waters. That's also about having dominion over the waters, having dominion over one of the elements. You see what I'm saying? Well, y'all will get what I'm saying. Let's keep going.
Verse 25. And Yahuah made the beast of the eretz according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the eretz according to its kind. And Yahuah saw that it was
That's the Shamayim. Things being separated according to its ma'in, according to its kind. Let's keep going.
Verse 26. Then Yahuah said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea. Dominion over the fish of the sea.
Oh, over what?
The fish of the sea.
That's fishing. That's why the apostles were fishermen. You didn't see that. You didn't see that in the Tanakh. You didn't see the prophets going and fishing and pulling things out of the waters like that. That just wasn't a theme. You didn't see that like that. You didn't see Moshe going. Was there any scripture showing Moshe going fishing? King David, somebody? No. Not that I could think of. But Yahuwah created man to have dominion over the fish of the sea. How do you have dominion over the fish of the sea? I submit about, one of the ways to exercise dominion over the fish of the sea is being able to catch them and eat them. Being able to fish, being able to take them and use them for whatever you need to. Which a big thing would be food source. So what did the other nations do? They went and took dominion over the water so much so to where they pulling everything out the waters. They killing all the whales. Everything. Everything. Mass fishing for commercial fishing. They pulling all the cleaners out the water. You ain't supposed to mess with that. They pulling all the shrimp, everything out the water. All the clams, oysters. To where stuff is, the oceans are dying right now. Let's keep going.
I'm going to start with 29 again. Then Yahuah said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea.
So man was designed to have dominion. Keep going.
Over the birds of the air.
Right.
And over the cattle.
Okay, so think about this. The fish of the sea that's having dominion over the waters, right? Ma'im. The birds of the air. Remember the air, the firmament was called Shamayim. Remember that? So that's about having dominion over the air. And then what else?
And over the cattle.
Over the cattle. Which what?
Over all the earth.
Over all the eretz, y'all. So that's having dominion over the land. That's having dominion over the elements, Mishpaka. Mm-hmm. Dominion over the elements. That's what man was designed to have. The men of Yahuah. It was never designed for the people of darkness to have dominion over the elements. It's supposed to be the people Yahuah set up were the ones who are supposed to have dominion over the elements. Keep going.
Say, okay, over the cattle, over all the eretz, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the eretz. So Yahuah created man in his own image. In the image of Yahuah he created him. Male and female he created them. Verse 28. Hit the thing. I'm sorry. Then Yahuah blessed them, and Yahuah said to them, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the eretz and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea.
So y'all know this big focus on Kodesh seed? Mm-hmm. Because we're supposed to fill the eretz with the Kodeshim. The eretz is supposed to be filled with us. Mm-hmm. Remember, the eretz was never designed to be filled with wickedness. It was always designed to be, it was supposed to be filled with us, always. That was always the original design for the eretz. So that's, you see it right here. This is proving that. Let's keep going.
Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the eretz and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the eretz.
The sea, the air, and the eretz. That's the elements. Keep going.
And Yahuah said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the eretz, and every tree whose fruit yields seeds. To you it shall be for food. Also, to every beast of the eretz, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the eretz, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. Then Yahuah saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Was the sixth day. So you see that man and beast was made on the sixth day. That's why the mark of the beast is the number. Right, because that's the day the beast was made, man and beast. And also you notice that food, Yahuah established the food. He said, I'll give you all these trees for food and things like that, and for the beast as well. That's why when you think about the number 6, it's about the nefesh. It's about the beastly nature. It's about food, sustenance, things like that. Because that's also when you were like, this is the things I'm giving to you for your sustenance. It was on the 6th day. You see what I'm saying? And all right. And so, and that's when we had mankind, Adam and Kawah, were made on the 6th day, which is Yom Shishi. And we know sustenance was given during that time of food. That's a double portion of sustenance. So the sheen is also teeth consuming. Even when it came to the manna surrounding Sabbath, Yahuah gave a double portion on the 6th day so that you'll be through to rest on the 7th. Remember that in Exodus 15. So Yom Shishi is about having a double portion of sustenance. Yeah, it's about having a double portion of sustenance of food. That's why on the 6th day, Yahuah said, I'm going to give you all these things for food. I'm going to give you all these things, these trees and all these things, the seed that just bears in them and all that stuff like that. So that was all surrounding Yom Shishi. It's the time of a double portion. But there's a positive and negative side. You know that the beastly nature can, you'll drive and people will drive and they will sin based off of their sustenance too. And so what happened in Revelation, you saw the mark of the beast, 666, because it was people were ready to give up the kingdom for what? Sustenance. We saw that with Esau, right? What happened with Esau? He was hungry. He wanted some food, so he gave up his whole birthright. He basically gave up the kingdom over sustenance, because that's the sign of him taking. It's like he took them. That was a symbolism of the mark of the beast. That's what it's all about. People giving up their inheritance over sustenance. A bowl of lentils, whatever. Our people do it all the time. They be like, man, look, I like this is a thoob job I got, man. Man, look, I'm making $30 an hour now. You know what I'm saying? Man, look, this is a thoob job. I'm not finna go to no Shabbat. Man, look, I'll try to see what happens, over time, after 5 years, they give us a chance to work on changing our, and you literally just, prioritizing your money, your sustenance over the kingdom, for real. It's a mindset. But if you do that today, how you not gonna take the mark of the beast? You gonna take it. You gonna do it. You'll do it. I don't care what people say. You're gonna do it. So mankind was supposed to have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the beast and everything that walks up on the earth. So that's the water, the air, and the arets. Even looking at fire, even looking at Moshe. This is the Hebrew word for Moshe or Musha of the scriptures, and also Melech Moshe. He has the same name, rebirth of a nation, of this nation. It literally means to draw out of water. That's the Hebrew, that's what it means. If you go to the concordance, it means to draw out of water. That's why Moshe was named Moshe, because remember, his mama drew him out of the waters, remember? Moshe was pulled out of the waters, wasn't he? So, you see that in the name. The sheen is to separate, to divide, or to catch like a net, to pull out of the waters by the power of the Ruach. But another way to look at this is that it's about the elements: water, fire, and air. The hay, the air, the Ruach. Y'all listen. You should, if we were Hebraic enough in the beginning, we could have saw just by seeing his name that he was going to be able to manipulate the elements. Just from looking at his name, we should have been able to be like, see that. He's going to be able to go and manipulate the water, the air, the elements. Because that's what he did. That's what he was destined to do, and that's what he did. And listen, that is what we are all designed to do. To be a people who have dominion over the elements. This is why and I'm gonna end it here. Y'all, let's read Romans 8, verse 19.
All right. Romans 8, verse 19.
Romans chapter 8, verse 19.
All right, we ready? I'll give you.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 19.
Romans 8, verse 19. The earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of Yahuah. Or the sons of light.
Read that one more time.
For the earnest expectation of the creation
So there's
eagerly.
an earnest expectation of who?
The creation.
Of who?
The creation.
Yeah. We're reading about the creation week. And there's an earnest expectation from the creation. What's the creation? The elements. What's the creation? The creation is the elements. Mm-hmm. The animals, the earth, the air, all the elements, the waters. There's an earnest expectation of creation that eagerly awaits for the revealing of
The sons of light. The sons of Yahuah.
of you, the sons of Yahuah. The sons of Yahuah are the sons of light. So don't find it weird or crazy if creation responds to you. Adam had so much dominion over these things that he even could communicate with the animals. Yeah, the snake was able to talk to him. That wasn't no weird thing to him either. Y'all didn't notice when the snake started talking to Eve that Eve wasn't like, oh my goodness, this snake just said something. Did you see that? They were so in tune with creation they could communicate with him, y'all, even with the animals. Let me just do this last thing and we'll wrap it up. There's just so much more, but it'll be all right, man. We just had to create that toy portion Bereshit, man. Genesis 4, Bereshit 4.
I don't know where you're going, I think.
All right, so we're skimming through and we're going to chapter 4 real quick. So we know the story, Adam and Hawa, Adam and Eve ended up sinning. You know, then there was this proclamation, this judgment that was against them due to this. And now we're in Bereshit 4, verse 1. This is after they sinned and was judged for that. Kicked out of the land. They were exiled of the land, and the cherubim had guarded the garden with 2 flaming swords. Genesis 4, verse 1.
All right, Genesis 4, verse 1. Now Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man from Yahuah. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
So Abel had sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Keep going.
Verse 3, and in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahuah. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat.
So
And-
Cain brought an offering of fruits.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Yahuah tell Adam and Eve? He told them to have dominion,
Be fruitful and multiply.
to be fruitful and to multiply, have dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and all the beasts
Of their rights.
on the ground. Did he tell them to have dominion over the trees and the fruit? He didn't say that. The birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the beasts of the earth. You notice all the sacrifices consist from the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth. You do have the grain offerings, I know. You do have that as well. But they're never by themselves. If you read Torah, there's never just a grain offering without putting meat with it. They go along with the birds of the air or the beasts of the earth. I'm trying to think. I don't remember. There's no grain offering just by itself. Trying to think. Even in the feast days, I guess you do the wave offering. But even that's still with the breast or the. Okay, I gotta look that up because I think there's some small exceptions. But generally speaking, we're talking about the daily sacrifices. We're talking about the main sacrifices. I know for sure, even the grain offerings, they are with meat. The olah offerings, all those things. But yeah, I think, there's a wave offering. Those who couldn't afford it, you bring a bird, though. Yeah. I got to dig deeper on that. But it's interesting that Abel offered the first fruits of his flock. That's really was interesting to me, because that's a covenant. The covenant is through the shedding of blood, and you just can't do that with fruit. The covenant is the cutting and the shedding of blood. But with a sacrifice, you don't take the ones that you can spare to process and to kill. For a sacrifice to Yahuah, you actually take the best of your flock. It says he took the first fruit. He took the best. He took the first fruit, and Yahuah was pleased with his offering. He shed blood. He cut. He gave him a animal offering where he had shed blood and gave the best of his flock. It wasn't one of the ones that were not being fruitful. It was of the best, and Yahuah received it. And it shows you, in order to be a thub offering, it got to be your best. And it can't be with the things you spare. It got to be the things you really want. The things you would keep for yourself, that you go ahead and offer it up to Yahuah. This is why I submit the Most High was pleased with Abel's offering. The thing is that it's way easier to offer up some fruit, man. I'm not, again, there's grain offerings in the scriptures, but it's a lot easier to do that than to take your best out of your flock, man. You develop relationships with it, man. So he was a keeper of sheep. Yeah, man. Like, you start to develop y'all think dogs is, that's a thub, actually, that's a thub example, because a lot of y'all haven't been a shepherd and keeping sheep. Think about your dogs. Those are unclean, That's the best. Most of us ain't kept sheep, so But sheep, they're like dogs. They really develop relationships to you to where they know your voice. When Yahushua was saying, my sheep, they know my voice. That's a real thing. I'll go out there with Malek, and the sheep know him. They run to him because he's been raising them for he's been raising them for generations now, for years. So they know him. Like, he go out there, he does a thing, and they all come. They know his voice. You know what I'm saying? They develop relationships with you. They follow you wherever you go. Just like that's great. I didn't think about that, but that's why he calls his people his sheep, and that's why he said the 144,000 follow him wherever he go. That's what sheep do. To their shepherd, they follow him wherever he go. If you don't put them in a gate or something like that, they will literally follow you wherever you go. They will follow you. And I know there's dogs that do that too. So just imagine that. You got to take them, and you got to kill it. And listen, it's not easy the thing to do. I was like, man, like, whoa, I'm gonna have to get used to that. We used to go into the grocery store getting our meat. Man, it's different, man, when you actually you're eating meat that you have a connection to. It's actually way better. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to eat what you actually food that we're designed to eat the food that we actually raise ourselves, that you actually have a connection to. It hits different. That you actually seen it get killed. But man, look, imagine taking that thing, you gotta get a knife and you gotta cut his throat and watch him bleed out. The best of your flock. And the Most High took look at that and, oh man, that's it. I received that. Because that's a real sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? That's the covenant. The covenant is always involving blood. Always. Even in the marital covenant. Even in the marital covenant, a marriage is supposed to be solidified by a man and a woman, both virgins, laying together. That's why the Most High, he made a woman's body anatomy to be to where there's bloodshed when that consummation is solidified. And there's bloodshed even in that situation. Because a true covenant is associated with blood. Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High.
So we're going to start. So there's a lot of visions, praise Yahushua. A lot of experience doing praise and worship. So we're going to go down to 9:21. Zuri wants to sing a song we went over in school about Genesis 1. Come on. Let the children come.
So, this is a song that I used to sing, I think when I was little. Okay. In the beginning I created the heaven and the earth. In the beginning I created the heaven and the earth. The heavens and the earth, the heavens and the earth. In the beginning I created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1, Genesis 1:1, Genesis 1:1, yeah. Bereshit bara Elohim en hashamayim va'ha'etz. Bereshit bara Elohim en hashamayim va'ha'etz. En hashamayim va'ha'etz. En hashamayim va'ha'etz. Bereshit akat, Bereshit akat, Bereshit akat kan.
Hallelujah.
Now that was nice right there. That was through. Yeah, I saw that. You do it too, huh?
All right, so then Akalish from Amudah. Mushal was talking about John 1. On this teaching I was watching this week, Malek Yahusha was talking about the rising of the sun. And he said, on the day that the sun, Yahusha, rises, there will be a window. Whoever witnesses the light in that hour will be protected when the darkness or the judgment comes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What time you on?
9:41. 9:41.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And then this is from Uriel. It's interesting that we kept talking about Yahusha with the people that follow him. I wrote earlier that I had a vision during praise and worship of Yahusha coming in with an entourage. Man, praise Yahusha. I hadn't read the visions yet.
Man,
I'm looking forward to reading them, though.
Yeah, that was powerful, man. That makes sense. Yeah, I read that one.
Yeah, she was in the whole vision, man.
Yeah, that's wild. Nathaniel, that's it right there. You on it, man. You on it.
So Nathaniel also says, salt is always associated with judgment, Mushal Asaf. Is this why salt is always required in offerings? Also, could the covenant of salt made with King Daud be interpreted as Yahuwah chose his bloodline to judge the earth?
Oh, snap. Nathaniel be on it, man. Because he made a covenant with salt. The only other person he made a covenant with salt with, I mean, probably other people that I can think of is Pincus. And Pincus, he got the covenant of salt because he went in and he thrust them through judgment.
That makes sense.
Man, Nathaniel bringing out some stuff, man.
Bloodline to judge the earth.
That's just crazy.
That's what Pincus' bloodline does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got that covenant because of the way he brought forth Yahuwah's judgment. Yo, that's wild.
All right, so this is from Lil Anthony. The salt in the ocean is weighing it down, and the water in the sky does not have salt in it. That makes the sky lighter than the ocean. Huh.
Oh, yeah, my boy bringing out that revelation. Yeah. I don't know if there's, I don't know how, I don't know. Oh, Bakir Yamin Manna, that's when he pulled out, when he caught a porgy fish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that ain't up, man. Yeah, that was a beautiful trip, though.
Yeah, that was nice, man.
Hezekiah put the video of the bird eating Bakir Lou fish. Yeah, he got him too, boy.
That's so funny.
He got him. Radayahu, he said, Mushal equals separating the waters with the staff, which is the same thing as giving your lineage control over the revelation so that they will have dominion in order.
Oh, snap, he bringing it out, son.
Yeah, he is, man. Daggone. Yeah. All praise to the Most High. Ima Oriah, giving up the kingdom to satisfy the flesh. Galatians 5:17. For the flesh desires what is against the Ruach, and the Ruach desires what is against the flesh.
Oh, that's it, Ima. Yeah. No, that's it.
Praise and worship, and then, You want me to read it? Oh, okay. You wasn't saying that? Oh, okay. Gotcha. I got you. Understood. And then Isha Bakir Ezra Hadassah put the scriptures from today in here. All right, and that is it. Hallelujah.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.